Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to our last official class. Holy cow. Can't believe how fast this year and this quarter have gone. I don't have a quote for you, a quote of the day for you, but I do have a picture that my nephew colored for me. The same one, the same nephew that I showed you guys picture. Look, it's so cute. And he even wrote his name. Look at that. Look how good he can write. Just kidding. But his name is great. He's so cute. Anyway, so today we are going to learn about the Cold War, which started just after World War II ended, and then we'll go all the way up to the modern age. And I actually have a video for you guys to watch about the Cold War, so I won't talk too much about it. But the Cold War was this period of history that it was called the Cold War because it never actually heated up in terms of becoming an actual full-blown war where the two countries involved were fighting against each other. And these countries were the US and the USSR, the Soviet Union at the time. And those two countries were the two countries that really emerged as global superpowers after World War II. So remember that we have World War II, and it was the Axis and the Allied powers, and the Allies were the United States, Great Britain, France, Belgium, and Russia, or the USSR at the time. And the Axis powers were Germany, Italy, who else? Those were the two big ones, Germany and Italy. And so after the Axis powers lost, and Germany had to pay again for all of the damage that was done during World War II, which was, and Japan. Japan was also an Axis power. They had to pay for everything that happened, all the damage that was done during World War II, and part of that was, well, then the USSR, they weren't really happy with how the other Allies powers had treated them. And so then before they were in alliance with them, and then they stopped being in alliance with them and were against them. And what the USSR really wanted to do was to spread socialism around the world. And socialism is this type of government where supposedly everyone is equal, where everyone has the same rights and everyone gets paid the same and has the same healthcare system and all of that great stuff. But really, what ends up happening is that the leaders get a bunch of money that gets put in their pocket, and the common people, they are really poor. They have no reason to try to innovate and try really hard, because no matter how hard they work, they're still going to get the same thing paid. Or sorry, still going to get paid the same. So the USSR was trying to spread socialism throughout the world, and then the United States was trying to spread capitalism throughout the world, which is the idea of the more that you work, the more you get paid, which is a really good incentive to try to do new things and all of this. So anyway, all of that coming to say that Cold War was this period of time where the United States was trying to spread capitalism, USSR was trying to spread um, socialism, and instead of fighting against each other, what happened was that the US would get involved in any country that was trying to fight socialism and fight against socialism. And the USSR would get involved in those same countries trying to promote socialism. So we have a lot of wars during this time period, like the Vietnam War and the Korean War. And the Vietnam War was the war that took the most American lives, even though it wasn't necessarily their fight. But the United States decided to send people into that war, and it was very futile, as you guys will learn today, because they got killed. A lot of people were killed unjustly because the Vietnamese people had very good guerrilla warfare, and the soldiers and the people from the South Vietnam would just like walk around, and they'd get shot at from like trees. They'd look at this tree and like, oh, you just shot me, tree. Okay, it's fine. And actually, it was someone from North Vietnam that was hiding camouflage really well in the tree. So anyway, those two wars happened happened during that time was the space, which I will hold on. Let's see. I'll get back to that just a second. So the space race happened during that time, which is when the U.S. and the USSR were both trying to be the first person to land a man on the moon. What else happened during that time? Oh, as the USSR was trying to expand, they ended up taking over half of Berlin, and the Berlin Wall was built, which that wall was there for a really long period of time, and it was finally taken down in 1991, if I remember correctly. I'll double check that fact in a second. And so that all happened during this period of time called during this Cold War. Also, the Cuban Missile Crisis happened during this time, which was when Russia, who at this point had atomic weapons, but they couldn't get close enough to actually be able to destroy the United States. So what they did was they made this treaty with Fidel Castro in Cuba and said, hey, if you let us put our weapons in Cuba, we'll support you, because Castro wanted to build a socialist system in Cuba as well. So it was just this whole big mess of a time. There were some really bad decisions that happened on the president's side, which JFK, there we go. I was going to say FDR, but that was during the 1920s. JFK was president during this time. There was an attempted storming at the Bay of Pigs, which was a huge fail. And we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. And so all that was going on. Again, a Cold War. Just think of if your mom is angry at your dad for some reason and they're not talking, that's basically what it was. It's basically kind of a hissy fight of we don't like what you're doing, but we aren't going to officially declare war on you, so we're just going to declare war on all these other people that you're supporting. And yeah, so after, I just want to go over really quickly what happened after the Cold War was over. So you guys are going to watch a video and do an activity on the Cold War, and I will explain it to you in just a second. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a little really quick overview of some of the most important events that happened from the time, some of them is during the Cold War, when the Cold War was over, and to modern age. So, I keep clicking the wrong thing. 1 second. Okay. Let me present my screen to you guys. Okay, let's get to this PowerPoint presentation. So US history, it says 1990 to 2020. There's actually one event we're going to mention that's before 1920, which is the space race. In 1957 to 1956, the USSR was in the lead in this for a long time. They were the first they sent a monkey into space, then sent a dog, and then they sent a human into space. And then the United States started really ramping up their space program, their NASA program, and they were the first country to land a man on the moon. Then in 1990, and I'm sorry, I got the dates off a little bit. In 1990, the Berlin Wall was torn down, and then in 1991 was when the Cold War officially ended. Now I remember what it was. And this wall separated East Berlin and West Berlin. And East Berlin was under USSR rule, and West Berlin was free. And so actually there were people who maybe their parents lived in East Berlin, and people in East Berlin could not cross this border. So there were people in the about 20 to 25 years that this wall was put up in the city of Berlin that they literally couldn't see their family. Even though they were just on the other side of the city, they were not allowed to cross that border. So when this wall was officially torn down, it was this huge symbol of peace. 1991, very important date. Internet becomes launched and available to the public. So yeah, that actually happened in a really recent future. You guys obviously don't remember any of that happening because it was all before you were born, but it wasn't like this internet has been around forever. Another very important date, 1997, the first Harry Potter book was published by J.K. Rowling. 1998, Google and Apple were founded. Actually, Apple was founded a little bit before, but it became really popular in this year. We have Hurricane Mitch that also happened in 1998. That was very destructive, and I'm sure you guys can ask your parents about that period of time. 2001, one of the biggest terrorist attacks in U.S. history. 9/11, September 11th. I actually remember this happening. My mom that morning, for some reason, we never watched TV in the morning. For some reason, my mom decided to turn on the TV to watch the news this day, and we saw the footage of that second plane running into the second tower. That was one of those periods of time, like right now, we're in this quarantine, and we know that after we come out of this, our life is not going to be the same as it was before. It's going to fundamentally change how we do some things. And this is the same thing of during this 9/11 terrorist attacks. Security, if you guys have been in States, security before these terrorist attacks was a lot more relaxed and a lot more chill. So now if you go to the States, if you go through the airport, there's a lot more security that you have to go through because of these attacks. And because of the 9/11 attacks, part of that was because the United States was at war with Afghanistan and Iraq. And in 2006, we finally captured the leader of the terrorist group in Afghanistan. His name was Saddam Hussein, and the United States, executed him. He was a very, very terrible person. So he was executed in 2006. And 2020, that's the year that we're in. So I'm actually going to have you guys write down a couple of important things that have happened in 2020. So yeah, we've been through the U.S. history from the time that Columbus came to the United States, or to the Western world, and now here we are in 2020. It's crazy, crazy, crazy how much history we've covered this year. So let me share with you guys what you will be doing for your activity today. Save that. Okay, so the Cold War from 1947 to 1991. Here's a really quick video that you guys need to watch about the Cold War. And there's some links to some more videos you can watch if you want to, but you're not. We don't have time in the 1 hour we have, unfortunately, to watch all these histories. But they're really good. These history bomb ones, I think, are great. They're called the Cold War in one take, and so they take everything that happened in the Cold War and turn it into a song. So if you have time, you guys would really enjoy watching those. So the Cold War, like I said, is one of the most complicated and drawn out events in history. It lasted, 50 years? Almost 50 years, 45 years. And is basically just like, they're like this picture, they're like, I want this. No, I don't want capitalism. I don't want socialism. I'm gonna get involved in Vietnam. I'm gonna get involved in Korea, blah blah. So they never actually went to war against each other, but there was still a lot of lives lost on both sides. Both sides of the war were wanting to, we're starting to stock up atomic weapons in case anything that happened. Also, is a time of a lot of tension. Because if you can, both global superpowers basically had the chance to destroy the entire human race because of the atomic weapons they created. And then the Cold War finally ended when they decided to come at peace. They signed a peace armistice. So we get to our activity. Today you're going to do a scavenger hunt. And if you guys remember doing the scavenger hunt with the, what are they called? The explorers, it's going to be very similar to that. I have right here the answers with the QR codes and without the QR codes if you want to use your phone. Awesome. So I have in these slides, I have a screenshot of the scavenger hunt. This should look really familiar to you guys from the time we did it with the explorers. What you're going to do is you're going to put the answer in this table on the side here. So if the answer is 1945, I just made that up. The American U-2 spy plane is shot down by the Soviet Union. What you're going to do is you're going to come here and you can click either one of these. If you have a QR code scanner on your phone, this one is going to be easier to do with the codes because it'll show, it comes up here. Do you guys see my map I have on my wall? Every go to a new country, I can scratch off the gold. I'll let that load for a second. So anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to look through this. Once you find the dates, you are going to copy it here. Now, if you want to print out these papers, I gave you the PDF copy here. I gave you the PDF copy here if you want to print it out and do it by hand. And then you just take a picture and send it to me. Otherwise, you can do it on these slides. I recommend that because it's going to be a lot faster. And then you're going to put the answer to the right here. So whatever year the American U-2 spy plane is shot down by the Soviet Union, that's going to go in this box right here. And then there's a second page. And the last part of your assignment, what you're going to do is you are going to create a timeline. Now remember, timelines, you have to put the events in order, chronological order. So I don't 1964 at the beginning and then next it's going to be something from 1945. No, it has to go in chronological order from earliest to latest. Now you don't have to do, I think there's 26 of these events. You don't have to do all of them. I'm only going to ask you guys to do 13 to get complete credit. However, if you want to do all 26 of them, I will give you extra credit. Your options to do these, you can either do, I can send you these PDFs, or I'll put the link right here. Oh, I think the link is here already. So here's the PDF. If you want to fill it in there, you can do it by hand on a piece of paper, take a picture, and use that and send that to me. You can start from scratch and create your own Google Slides or Google Docs. There might even be a, what's it called, a format that you can upload. Or, like I said, you can do it by hand on a piece of paper. So any of those are fine. Just send me the proof. If it's on Google Sheets, Google Docs, attach it to your assignment. If it's on a piece of paper, take a picture, send it to me, email it to me, attach it to the assignment. Just, you guys are smart. You can make it happen. And this still never loaded. So, oh, there it is. Anyway, you guys are smart. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And next week, next week we will be doing a Google Meets class that is mandatory on Wednesday. I believe it's 9 o'clock. I put it in the announcement today. I put up another extra credit assignment for you guys. We do a current event, and I gave you a worksheet for you guys to fill out. So you would need to find an article, something that has happened in the last week from the time you send it in. So if you're planning on turning it in on the 5th, you can't report something that happened yesterday, for example, on Thursday. So you have that opportunity. There's an assignment on Google Classroom for that, so just turn it in like you would any other assignment. If you have any late work, send it to me. If you are at risk of failing a class, my class, which there's very few of you guys that are, which I'm so proud of you. You worked so hard this quarter, and I'm so proud of you. But the few of you that may be at risk for failing my class this quarter, I will be contacting you separately so that you can, so that we can work on a plan for you to get your work in